These are the top 11 things that I would tell my own son to do if he was getting ready to go to boot camp right now. My name's Dave. I spent 13 years in the Marine Corps. 3 of that was as a recruiter, helping people get ready to go to Marine Corps boot camp. And these are what I believe to be the most important things you can do to prepare yourself to succeed both at boot camp and beyond. Everyone thinks of boot camp as a super intense physical endeavor, but the reality is that it is more mental than it is physical. Yeah, sure, it is definitely challenging physically, especially if you're out of shape. But that doesn't mean that the physical aspect outweighs the mental aspect. You see, anyone can learn to be faster or do more push-ups, but it takes a lot of mental power to deal with an entire change to the way that you've always lived life. See, not only are you getting, if you're right out of high school, getting plucked out of your household and dropped off at recruit depot with some really friendly drill instructors screaming at you the whole way, but also you're going from some autonomy of doing your own decisions or making your own decisions and doing your own thing to absolutely zero autonomy of only doing what you're told to do, when you're told to do it, how you're told to do it. And even if you knew how to tie your shoes, you're going to get told to do it differently. And those things add up to make it mentally more challenging than it is physically. So that's what I would tell you. Prepare more mentally than you think you need to. The second thing is to learn to shut up and listen. Because at boot camp, nobody cares about your opinion. No one cares if you have a different way to do the thing. They care that you can do what you're told, when you're told, how you're told. And the less you talk and the more you listen and the more you just execute what you're told, the less trouble you get in. And trust me, as somebody who made it through Marine Corps boot camp, the less your drill instructors know you exist, the better your time at boot camp will be. Number 3 is just start preparing physically now. Because while it is more mentally challenging than physical, it is still physically challenging. And if you are out of shape, and you're trying to deal with all that while you're dealing with the mental side, that is a whole lot worse than if you're in shape and you're like, wow, this is really not that hard. And then you're just dealing with the mental changes. So get in shape. You should be running, you should be doing push-ups, you should be doing pull-ups, you should be doing sit-ups, you should be doing planks, you should be doing basic calisthenics, upper body, lower body, PT, right? For the Marine Corps, you're going to want to be able to run 3 miles, you're going to be able to do 20 pull-ups, you're going to want to be able to do a bunch of push-ups, sit-ups, crunches, whatever. For all these different branches, all of that is beneficial. Now, I would say look up this branch that you're joining and their specific PT requirements and make sure you can crush that. But as a whole, if you can do push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, planks, and run, you're going to be fine in all the branches. Number 4 is to memorize key info ahead of time. Now, I can't speak to what this might look like for all the different services, but in the Marine Corps, you're going to want to memorize some very specific things. Now, we had a whole laundry list checklist of things that we would give our poolees, which is essentially our recruits before they go to recruit training, that tells them what they should be learning. Things like the Marine Corps motto, which is honor, courage, commitment, or the Marine Corps leadership traits. JJ did tie buckle, judgment, justice, decisiveness, initiative, dependability, tact, integrity, endurance, bearing, unselfishness, courage, knowledge, loyalty, and enthusiasm. Those kinds of things. Yes, 17 years later, I can still repeat that. You're going to want to start learning your general orders, right? And realistically, you're going to learn all this stuff at boot camp. But again, you're trying to minimize the mental barrier. So if you know the answers to these basic things that you're going to have to learn pre-boot camp, it will set you up for success. And full disclosure, I learned none of that before recruit training. I was in decent shape and I knew none of the other stuff, and I went to boot camp and I did just fine. But it will make it easier for you if you know that stuff ahead of time, and it's just less things you have to learn because, again, your entire lifestyle is going to get flipped upside down and you're going to have to relearn it. So it's going to be stressful. Number 5 is that everything is a test. You're going to be constantly getting evaluated, getting looked at by your drill instructors, and everything you do or don't do is getting noticed. You may not think so, but trust me, when you find out who's got 2 a.m. fire watch, there's generally a method to the madness, and there's no hiding at boot camp. Again, as I said, the less your drill instructor knows you and the more you hide, the better. But the easiest way to hide at boot camp is to know what to do and do it. And to do it fast and to do it when you're told and to just shut up and do the thing, right? And so again, everything being a test, memorizing that stuff, being in good shape. If you can kind of check these wickets to be what they're looking for you to be spit out on the other side, which is in shape, disciplined, knowledgeable about your branch of service, then you're going to be under the radar more than if you are, a terrible test taker. And I don't mean terrible test taker, but you just don't know any of the stuff. Because trust me, you're going to learn that if you put your mind to studying, you can learn all this stuff, whether you think you're a good test taker or not. Or if you're totally out of shape, that highlights you. Or if you're just an asshole and you get in a fight in the bathroom with another recruit, that highlights you. All these things put your name in big bold font for the drill instructor. And you don't want that. Number 6 here is that teamwork is everything. You will want to learn to work with recruits. You're going to have to work with people. They are trying to break you down and build you back up as a cohesive unit. And if you're not willing to be a team player, it's going to end up that you stick out like a sore thumb. And I will tell you, and I'm not going to name them because I actually still know one of them, that I had 2 recruits when I went to boot camp who just simply were not willing to work with people as a team. And after they got in like their second fist fight together because of their egos, they ended up being bunkmates for the entire 3rd phase of boot camp, and they were not happy about it. And they eventually just decided and learned to shut up and listen and do what they're told and get on board with the plan. But that, you don't need all that or want all that stress in your life. So just be a team player, be a team sport, help other recruits out. A, your recruits that you're there with for 13 weeks or however long your boot camp is will appreciate it. B, you're less likely to be like highlighted because you're working with your team, you're playing the game, you're with people, you're with other recruits, you're doing the right thing, you're whatever, instead of being like the asshole who's like, just, my ego, blah, 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 blah. Like, nobody wants that. 7, mail is gold. So like, tell the people that you love or would love to hear from, give them your mailing address before boot camp. And you may not have your exact address. In fact, you won't have your exact address. But what you do is you give your parents a list of people that you want to have your address, and then you send them the letter with your current mailing address for them to disseminate. And you tell them, hey, it will be very valuable to me to get letters. Like, I'm going to write you guys a letter. Please write me a letter. And you tell these people you care about to write you letters. And maybe if you're lucky, they won't with you, because that is a thing for sure that, people who have been through boot camp or were in the military will 100% write you letters that might mess with you with your drill instructor. But letters from home are a huge mental uplift. You're going to get a letter here, a mail there, whatever. And so set yourself up for success to get a couple of those letters and hear from people you care about, because as mushy and weird, soft as it sounds, you will appreciate it, whether you want to show it to your peers or not. And I don't mean show the letter. I mean, like, show that you appreciate getting it. You can act all hard and tough if you want, but everybody likes getting letters. So I would say prep that so that you actually have the opportunity to receive some letters at boot camp, because it will make your life easier. Number 8 here is knowing that drill instructors are not the enemy. They were hand selected to be your drill instructors based on, every branch probably does it differently, but like in the Marine Corps, you get voluntold. Not all these guys even want to be drill instructors. They're tired, they're worn out, whatever. And they have a job to do, and they do it very well. But it is a job. And they are not the enemy. They are there to just keep a schedule, keep order, and train you through the thing. So just don't take anything they do or say personally, because it is designed, again, to break you down and build you back up as a cohesive person, unit who understands Marine Corps values or whatever branch of service. And so they're going to say, do, and act in ways that you don't necessarily appreciate, because their job is to stress you out, and their job is to get you places on time. Their job is to teach you all this stuff. And like, it is what it is, but they're not the enemy. Just know that like, they're there to do what they're doing. And it's actually funny because at boot camp for the Marine Corps, once you earn the title Marine, you have one last week. They call it Marine Week. And your drill instructors go from their campaign cover with like the angry build thing that we're all familiar with to a normal Marine Corps, I don't know if you can see it in here, but that guy, the 8-point cover. And all of a sudden, they let you see the normal Marine Corps side. Now, they're still, the sergeant, staff sergeant, gunnery sergeant, whatever rank. They still outrank you, and they're still strict, and they're still stern, and they're still all the things. But like, light switch, they will treat you like a Marine, with respect, normal conversations. They'll tell you stories about their life. They open up. They'll joke with you, and like, night and day. And you'll realize very quickly, like, oh, it really was just a job. It's just a light switch. They flip it on, they flip it off. And they most of them prefer that side to the screamy, yelly, lose my voice side of drill instructoring. So just know, it's a game. They're not the enemy. They're not out to get you. Don't take anything personally. Number 9 here is you are going to mess up. Don't dwell on it, right? You'll screw things up. I was pretty under the radar. In fact, my senior drill instructor actually replaced me at a unit that I worked at. When I was a staff sergeant, he was a gunnery sergeant. He came into the motor pool. He was the same MOS I was. He checked in, and I was like, holy, that was my senior drill instructor. And he didn't even know who I was. And I was his last cycle. So if anything, you would think he would know who I was. Ironically, I was able to tell him a story from boot camp that immediately he remembered. It was like, oh, yeah, I remember that. Like, I know who you are now. But he didn't know who I was. He remembered the story. And so I feel like I did a pretty good job of staying under the radar, because there were people in my platoon. As we got to know each other, we kind of joked because it was cool to have a beer with him, way down the road. And we joked about some of the people who had been in my platoon that he absolutely remembered for both good things and really not so good things. And so, I'd hate to be the guy he runs into, and that was the impression, terrible ass recruit, vice, I flew under the radar, right? And so that said, even then, when they don't remember me, there was a time where that very same man just blasted me. And I will never forget, it was something really dumb too, like we were taping up the loose strands on our Ilby pack, our old backpacks. We would like roll them up and you use electrical tape to tape them up so they don't have like things flopping around when you're hiking. Your backpack looks nice and neat. Because Marine Corps is all about tight and neat and, order and discipline and whatever. And I had finished mine and the recruit next to me was struggling. And so I was like helping him. And then I had figured that we were going to do the same thing on all of our straps. So after I helped him, I got ahead. In my head, we were told to do this strap and to do that strap. So now, we're doing all these straps. I'm going to do all these straps. And I got ripped apart and did a whole bunch of PT and dragged around in the sand and all the normal, Marine Corps whoop-de-doop-de lessons learned, and then had to undo them and wait till I was told to do them because I was getting ahead of the game. And the ironic thing is I was right. Like, I did it the right way. But that wasn't the point. The point was shut up, listen, do as you're told. Don't be doing all this extra. And, lesson learned, like in real life, obviously that's not helpful to like, hey, I know how to get ahead of this. I'm trying to get ahead of this. But at Marine Corps boot camp, you do what you're told. And so then I was like helping this other guy and they were like, let him figure it out. And so like that whole session, getting our gear ready for, I think it was second phase, whatever, where you go to Camp Pendleton and do all the hiking and stuff. I got just fist mentally. And they don't remember it because that was the only time that I actually got like personally in trouble at boot camp. Most of the other times that I got screwed with was because like my rack mate did something dumb or someone else did something stupid and I just got dragged along for the fun. The very first time that I ever got just like, we called it an IT session, like an intense, whatever, I don't remember what they're called. An IT session, basically like you do a bunch of mountain climbers and push-ups and burpees and run and whatever. The very first time that happened to me was because my rack mate, the very first week or second week of boot camp, my bunk mate, he was getting IT'd because he f***ed up and then he had a seizure. And I can't even make this up. And so he starts convulsing and they bring him back. And what they were really trying to do was just clear out the bunk space for when the medics came. But basically what happened was I was the bottom bunk, he was the top bunk. They brought him over to the rack and they threw him on the bottom bunk, which is my bunk. So then I'm just like standing there at the position of attention at the front of my desk, and all the other recruits are standing at the position of attention at the front of their desk. But like I'm the guy who shares the bunk. So they made everyone else get on their bunks, and then they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, that recruit's in my bunk, or in this recruit's bunk or whatever, because you're talking third person. Anyway, long short, they were like, where's his bunk mate? And so I got to finish his session of getting slayed because they were trying to clear the space out for when the paramedics came in. And so I got slayed because he got slayed for messing up and then he had a seizure. And so someone had to finish his session and I got picked. So like dumb stuff like that. 10, you're capable of more than you think. Like your body is going to go further than you think. If you listen to David Goggins, he's right. Mentally, like as long as your mental side is good, you'll be fine. So just know that you are capable of more than you think. I'm terrified. I hate heights. And there's this stairway to heaven, like ladder or Jacob's ladder, whatever they call it, like thing at one of not even the obstacle course. I'm good at the obstacle course. The confidence course, where you have to climb over all these logs going up, 40 feet up in the air, 30 feet up in the air, and there's massive mats, and terrified the hell out of me. And I made it. You have to do it to graduate. And I never thought I could because I hate heights, but I did. I made it. So you are capable of more than you think if you actually like decide to do the thing and commit to it. So like don't limit yourself mentally because your physical side can handle it. So embrace the suck. And then finally, number 11, everybody pretends that boot camp is harder than it is. And what I mean by that is this: it's not as hard as you're telling yourself it's going to be. But everybody who comes back from boot camp wants to act all tough. So they say, oh yeah, it's terrible. It was so hard, but I'm tough. I'm awesome. I made it. Rather than being like, dude, it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. Like, you'll be totally fine. People like to downplay things on the other side. And so like you come back from this hike, you do Kilimanjaro, tallest mountain in Africa. And you're like, hey, it was easy. I did it. I'm awesome. Like, whatever. when really it might have sucked for them. Like, people like to just play these games where if it was really hard for them, they'll like downplay it to feel like they're cool. And if it was really easy for them, they'll like upplay it to be like, oh, it was so tough, but I'm just awesome. And so like, just know that your experience is going to be different than everyone else's. And what everyone says about boot camp is going to be different than what you think and whatever. But like, from my experience, which again, you can discount completely because of what I just said, it's mentally more challenging than physically, and it's not nearly as challenging as you're thinking it's going to be. That said, you should prepare for the worst. What's the old adage? Expect the best, prepare for the worst. Like, you should prepare for it to suck and to kick you in the nuts and to just be very difficult, so that when you get there and it's not so bad, you're prepared. You'd rather be much rather be over prepared than under prepared. And that's the thing. That's basically what all of this sums up to, is you should over prepare for boot camp to make it easier for you to go through. That said, what I'd like to do now is just offer you, I put a QR code here. I wrote this book called The No BS Guide to Military Life. It's available on Audible or hard copy on Amazon, but if you scan this QR code, you can download the PDF completely free, no cost to you. And I wrote this book to answer anything and everything that I wish I'd known when I went to boot camp. Part of it is about boot camp and military life and succeeding in the military, and part of it is about investing with your thrift savings plan and your VA loan and using your military benefits to succeed financially. Both things that I wish I'd known more about when I joined the military. They would have set me up for success. So I would just encourage you to click that QR code and scan it if you made it all the way through, and begin prepping yourself for life in the military, both with your benefits and your lifestyle and your job choice, and financially, how to use your things like the thrift savings plan, the VA loan, your VA disability way down the road, but like how to start prepping yourself to be successful both in service with your career and financially, because you can do both. You can serve the military and have a great career and leave the military in great financial shape if you play your cards right. And I wish that I'd known all the things that I put in this book. So, do yourself a favor, scan it. And then comment down below which of these tips was the most helpful for you, or if you've been through boot camp, add some. What am I missing? What do you wish you'd known before you went to boot camp? That said, hope you found this video helpful. Make sure you like and subscribe, and have a great freaking day. Love you.